Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, you are live. That's new. I've never seen that before. Did you see the you are live come across the screen?
No.
That's new. I have never seen that before. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are and when you're watching this. If you're watching it live or you're watching the replay, this is the Melanated Air Hour. For the next 1 hour, we are going to come across your airways and bring you dope melanin conversation. Today, we're talking about Snoop Dogg not repurchasing, I think purchasing Death Row Records. That's our conversation today. The actual title of this is Reclaiming Your Brand. Today, you might get three of us, but for right now, you have two of us. You have myself at I am Lene Javette, and you have the beautiful Miss Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. If you are,
Hello.
hello, my dear, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful. How are you?
I am great,
Glowing.
girl. I'm in Atlanta today, chilling. Got this beautiful sunlight hitting my melanin skin. I'm feeling cute today. I'm like, this is natural light. I don't got near sunlight on, not a light on in the whole room. I'm feeling good today.
Good.
Yeah. So today we are talking about Snoop Dogg buying Death Row Records. Come on now. If you are just tuning in, Madam President, I'm going to introduce you 1 second. If you're just tuning in, give us one of your favorite Snoop Doggy Dogg songs or one of your favorite Death Row songs. If you're watching this, you're probably in our age range, so you probably grew up on Death Row. I'm from California. I'm a California girl, so I love me some Death Row Records, which usually surprises people. They're like, "You don't look like a rap kind of girl," and I'm not really a rap kind of girl, but I'm a DJ Quick kind of girl. I'm a DMX kind of girl. I'm a Snoop Dogg kind of girl, Dog Pound kind of girl. I'm West Coast rap. I'll say that I'm West Coast rap. So, hello, Madam President. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. Hey, hey, hey. This hair is just flowy, okay? It's good.
Hey, girl, I've been using that Go Sleek thing you've been seeing in on social media lately. It looks like a little sponge roller.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Girl, I love. Look at this is
Look
straight
at
Go Sleek.
that.
It's beautiful. I
Yeah.
I
gotta
love
get me one of them.
I
Yeah.
love it. I've been trying to do little infomercials because it's hard to find a good product that you see online and can use. I love it. So, Death Row. Are you guys familiar with Death Row? You guys go. Did you guys? Okay, so I know you're in New York. No, 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 no. That's Keisha. Where are you at, Faye?
I am 2 hours from New York. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Did you grow up on Death
Philly.
Row?
All
Did you
right.
listen to Death Row back in the
Philly.
day?
So Philly, you might as well say Philly, New York, because East Coast rap is East Coast rap. And a lot of people don't know. East Coast rap kind of was born, the first rap to be born on radio, and it was born on radio here in Philly.
Okay.
Lady B. If are not familiar with Lady B, guys, go look her up. She was a hip hop DJ and rapper, female rapper, who worked at a radio station in Philadelphia many, many years ago. It was in the 80s, late 70s, 80s. And she is the woman who debuted rap music, brought rap music to radio. Because remember,
Okay.
hip hop started on the block. It started at the clubs and the parties, and it started with the DJs and the graffiti. So, yes, I am East Coast rap.
All right, cool. Madam President, was you listening to Death Row back in the day?
Man, let me tell you something. I am definitely the East Coast, West Coast, was part of the battle growing up. I think I was like in fifth grade, and the guys used to like be fighting in the lunchroom about like, I'm West Coast and I'm East Coast, and like it used to be fun when we were younger. So like we probably really didn't kind of like really understand what was going on. But that was our time. We was feeling it. And if you look at like the nostalgia right now, people are trying to get back to the 90s. If you look at some of the artwork that's going on, people love the 90s and what it was for the culture of, I use that word very, very tight because, Black folks and culture, that's a whole nother subject. But all that to say, yes, I'm a part of that rap gang, and I love the music that was coming out of it. Even though Maya Angelou then was like, calling them ladies bees and stuff, we still
Mhm.
used to turn it up.
Yeah. Death Row was definitely, I think, instrumental just in the shift of music. If we and it's a delicate thing to say. I wish we could go back to the music of the '90s of when Tupac and Snoop was on the label. And Death Row was putting out some dope music back then.
They
Music has
were.
changed a lot, right? The music we hear now. and sometimes I listen to today's music and our music of our time, and it's similar, but it's different, right? Like our music still glorified guns and called women bitches and guns, you know what I'm saying? But today they're so descriptive and nasty in their music. Like, we still have fucking police. Like we were still, riding and moving, taking our music somewhere, right? We still have Public Enemy and things of that. Today is just all nasty. It's all nasty music today. So Death Row is now owned by Snoop Dogg. Here for fun fact, I don't know if you guys knew this. I did not know this before I read this, but Death Row was actually founded by Dr. Dre, Suge Knight, the DOC, and Dick Griffey in 1991. I did not know that the DOC was a founder of Death Row. Did you guys know that before this?
I did. I also know about the accident that took DOC's voice. I know he was also very instrumental in a lot of the writing and production that took place there too.
I knew that, but I didn't know he was. I knew that piece. I did not know that he was a founder. Okay, so Snoop is one of the legendary artists who got his start at the labels, so it's only fitting that he will now take the reins. What do you think it means for Death Row Records now that Snoop is the owner? What can we expect?
Well, to my understanding, when I read the article, it sounds like his goal was to buy back the label to acquire his music rights and his publishing. And if that's what it took to get that back, to claim his rightful ownership and reclaim his brand, I'm all for it. Now, where he decides to go in terms of the direction he wants to actually take the label, that's a different story, because Death Row, a lot happened there. It so much controversy, Tupac's death, the gang affiliation. It has such nasty affiliations associated with the brand. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with that part of it. But I am very proud of him for this move, because a lot of artists signed to those nasty 360 deals. And I know that is something that Snoop did. And he wanted to get his rights back, his publishing backs. And he was able, in addition to his own, acquire the music rights and publishing of other artists on Death Row. And it's a celebration for music right now, considering what it is he did.
Elias Savastano, I hope I didn't butcher your name, said, West Side, I'm with you. I would throw my dub right now. It's a little bit raggedy, so here we go again. Because I'm from California, so I believe in the West Side. You brought up a good point on reclaiming his brand, Faye. Do you think that the Death Row brand can be, I don't know if refurbished is the right word. I don't know if made clean is the right word, but what do we think about for Death Row branding going forward? Music is not dealt with and handled the way it was when Suge was running Death Row. And to your point, Death Row got a very gangster-ish rep back in those days. And since business is not handled that way, what do you think about the brand of Death Row going forward?
I say
salvage. Thank you, Jerry. Salvage. Look at y'all. Come through, Jerry. Can it be salvaged?
Yeah. No, I personally think that I can't even think of a Death Row song in 2010 that was on air. I can't even think of a Death Row song. Not that they don't have classics, though, because the classics are definitely there. But when you think about the current industry, a lot of these artists that are on the radio or who've grown to be very popular, according to what I understand, they have about 4 different companies that's over their management and 4 different companies that they're paying out to, which means this stuff requires money. This is a lot of money. And so when I think about Snoop Dogg, him being, I would say, one of the fathers of music, one of the fathers of the hip hop,
West Coast rap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I said the hip hop like an old grandma. Why did I say that? I'm tripping. But being a godfather of hip hop, I will say that I just personally don't know when the last time he had a hit that we were bumping on the radio. Like, think about this. When were you at a setting and you was like, hey, I got some Snoop Dogg, you know? Like, it don't work, it don't happen. So
hold on. Snoop Dogg is timeless. Snoop has been around for years. He has reinvented his brand multiple times. He did a Christian album. He did a Jamaican album. He's
really
he had a TV show with Martha Stewart. Like,
come on now.
Diverse.
Right. Snoop is Snoop. We know, and not to mention, let's just say that he's also on Black Mafia Family, which is a show that was filmed just recently.
Yeah, come on, don't be banging on the West Side.
Right, 2021. But when I think about music, I'm thinking like, are people going around saying, hey, Snoop Dogg just dropped an album, did you cop it? I just really believe it. Is his time up? Absolutely not. He is classic, but hey, can he take this agency and take it to the new height?
He has a new album coming out called BODR. I had to do a little bit of research before we did our session today. So he has a new album coming out called BODR. I wish I could tell you what it means. I couldn't find it anywhere. And it's an NFT album. So he's in blockchain. I mean, say what you want. The brother has found a way to stay relevant all these years. And now to be able to buy his namesake, not his namesake, but the what he said, Death Row is the label that pays me. What? And now Death Row literally is the label that pays him. Come on now.
I feel like as an overall investment, though, he's going to take more money than he's going to get back from this, from the startup. I'm looking at this as a true startup situation.
It's not a startup because it's already a brand. Listen, if hypothetically speaking, if Death Row finds The Game, Kendrick Lamar, and any other super hot LA rap artist, it's over. And look what I wrote on my page. If they bring Dre back to do the beats, the rap game is done. The West Coast is back. We're gonna kill everybody.
That I agree. I could see where that would go, but and it sounds great in theory, but how would that translate into practice? Especially when you think about where the music industry is today and how a lot of artists have transitioned out of signing deals, label deals, and moving the more independent route so that they can actually keep more of their royalties and keep more of their own money. You know, what soured, I feel, the entertainment industry was the 360 deal. And if for those who don't know what a 360 deal is, it is something that Snoop Dogg himself actually signed with Death Row Records when he first signed to the label. And mind you, he was only 20 or 21 years old, I believe, when he signed to Death Row. So like most artists who don't understand the music business, he admitted that he had no rights or understanding of publishing, what points on an album meant, ownership, or any of that. And again, for those who aren't aware of what a 360 deal is, it's when a record company agrees to provide financial support for an artist. It includes advance money, as well as support for your marketing, your promotion, your touring, your merchandising, and all other areas. So it's like a loan, so to speak, that you agree to with the label, and in turn, you agree to give them a certain percentage of your overall money acquired from these revenue streams. So it's not just a percentage of the album sales, which a lot of people tend to associate, or at least thought that 360 deals consisted of, where they just collect this large percentage of your album sales. No, they don't just collect money from album sales. They own your likeness, your imaging, any money that you make.
If you make money, they make money.
Under that brand, they make it. Everything. It is actually one of the worst kind of business arrangements you could ever enter into. And unfortunately, because the 360 deal, which became popular during the Motown era, has kind of cast this dark shadow, particularly over the music industry. Even with Snoop, deciding that he wants to re-innovate Death Row Records, there's going to be a lot of work there to do in order to turn it into what it once was.
But I don't
If
think
you decide to go in that direction.
Here's the thing. I don't think, to your point, I don't think we should turn it into what it once was. I think we have to make it, to your point, make it current. We do have Spotify, we do have Apple, we do have people that are self-publishing and putting their own stuff, putting their own music out. So he can't go back and make it what it once was. He has to be thinking about this from a business perspective and moving forward, like Madam President said as well. That we're in a different time, we're in a different day and age. So he can't make a death row of yesterday. He definitely has to make a death row of tomorrow. So now, go ahead.
To give clarity to that, when I say the death row of yesterday, I'm talking about the cash cow that Death Row Records once was. You have to think about
from the deals, from the 360 deals.
Yeah, you think of the Chronic, the amount of albums the Chronic sold. Doggystyle, which is Snoop's debut album. The Chronic and Doggystyle are actually, as well as Tupac's All Eyes on Me, I think, are the biggest selling albums over there. I don't think anything outsold the Chronic. So that's what I mean. Turn it, like, in other words, acquire an artist similar to that of himself and Dre and Tupac, 3 popular artists on the label, who sold millions and millions of albums and generated all of this money for the label. Could that happen today? And I say that because of where music is right now. Who would be willing? It would have to be a Kendrick Lamar, like you said earlier, to your point. It would have to be a big name artist who would agree. But at the same time, because of where music is, would they agree to give such a large percentage to Snoop Dogg and Death Row Records in exchange for being on the label? That's where that question will lie.
I think that people are going to run into, I think, in theory, I'm not trying to hate by any means, but I think theoretically, people, young men, think about the music industry. It's not really, people are not trying to get Madam President to come to a concert or buy a lot of albums. They're trying to get 19-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and 16-year-olds to go to concerts because young people pay for everything, right? Mom, can you get this? Can you get this? Can you get this? So trying to get a bunch of young people to get to the concert that transcends also to adults, you know, people in their 30s who spend their own money on stuff. I just find that it's gonna be like signing NBA players. You want to go, hey, look, you want to be on Drake label? You want to be on Top Dog? You want to be on Kendrick Lamar's label? Or you want to come over here to Death Row Records? I mean, this ain't the 90s. Do you want to come over here to Death Row Records? You know, and not to mention the marketing aspect of it. Death Row was a very thuggish, bullyish record label. You know, they hottest rapper was killed. Not to mention, you know, he was killed and people were questioning, was the owner of the label responsible? Are you going to recover from that? It's nice. And I think, like Faye said, it sounds excellent. But when it's time to put them dollars in this, I am just not seeing how this is going to transcend beyond the metaverse.
Ooh, I like the way you said that. The metaverse.
I don't know. I think I have hope and faith. I mean, here's the thing. If you think about today's music in comparison, right? Back in those days, we loved our record label. Def Jam, we supported Def Jam. Bad Boys, we supported Bad Boys. Death Row, we supported Death Row. Mass P, we supported No Limit. So each one of these labels was like its own little gang, if you will. Yeah. Today's music, we don't have no labels. Like, I can't tell you a single solid label that's out there other than your major Sony Music, you know what I'm saying? But they don't, pardon my language, bang their label today like they used to back then. 50 Cent, Aftermath, like we used to know the label and we supported the artist on the label. I think and believe that by bringing Death Row Records back, we may get back to more of record labels and or families. But if we do that, we can't go back to 360 deals. And my thought would be that because Snoop Dogg has lived through that era and had that experience, and now that he has his namesake back, that he would be more cognitive of that. Not just that, but the fact that music is different. You really can't do a 360 deal because somebody could just go out and do their own record.
Also, here, let me ask you this, Lene and Faye. Do you think that it's not within the best benefit to, like, this label is not going to reach out to artists and say, hey, let me teach you how to be an independent artist. We always talk about this even behind the chat, is being fair in business does not make you a whole bunch of money. So this is not going to be some kind of revolutionary business module. I can imagine this is going to have to be lucrative. Now, let's talk about Snoop Dogg's and his businesses. How many businesses does Snoop Dogg have that he has successfully ran and been a part of?
That's a good question. I do know he had the football team, the junior football team that his son played for. He had that for almost 10 years. I forget what league it was. I can actually look it up right now. In terms of other businesses, I'm honestly can't say that I'm familiar.
I'm not.
Okay. So according to this, it says Snoop Dogg's net worth is about 150 million. So he's a little bit wealthier than I initially had suspected. What are Snoop Dogg's investments? So the Dogg father, otherwise known as Calvin Brothers, is co-founder of LA-based VC fund Casa Verde. The firm is today announcing its first investment into continental Europe, their first investment in Europe. So he has some business ventures that we're not aware of. He has the wine. I know he has the wine out right now. Movies.
I want us to be careful when we go off of estimated net worth online. I always tell people that be careful with that, because that information is based on brand, not your actual net worth. It's not information that's collected from a tax sheet. It's information that's based on what it is your brand is technically would be worth.
Yeah, they're usually wrong.
Yeah, they are always dead wrong. I forget what artist it was. It was an Atlanta artist who said that Forbes had him worth $10 million. And he was like, where the heck did they get that from? The one from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. The one that says, meet me at the mall. It's going down. He had like one hit that was really popular. I forget his name. He said that he was like, where the hell did they get that figure from? I didn't have that kind of money. He said, I had money, but it wasn't that. So just everybody, I say that to the audience, because when you hear that estimated, just keep in mind it's an estimate. It's not based on an actual figure.
I always like to look just to get an idea, like, okay, but based on who they are, I will either reduce or increase based on, I'm like, what did they say this is from? Oh, no. Okay, that is less than that. Or I'll be like, oh, they didn't account for this or this or this. It's definitely more than that. But that's just a little Google look. So,
but it's a good question. This is a great discussion, because it does make you wonder what would be next in terms of not just for Snoop, but what it is he intends to do with this brand, because we are definitely in a different kind of era. Music is different. Everything is different. And one of the things I found interesting is that Lene said that he is releasing an album as an NFT. So maybe he could go in that direction, because I just don't see this coming back as a traditional label. I don't.
But there aren't any traditional labels. So it would be redundant to come back as a traditional label.
There still are traditional labels. You do have Universal Music. There is still Def Jam that exists. You still have Sony, Columbia Records. They're just not
the urban. I'm talking about like more of your urban,
like label. A band. Well, I see what you mean. Yeah. That's why I said it's going to be interesting to see what he does with it, because Death Row once was making over $100 million a year.
Ooh, that's a lot of money. If I
$100 million a year for almost 5 years that they were major like that. So
that's a lot of money. Just thinking about like having that much money coming in and the beef and the hits. I mean, it was really, really interesting and kind of fascinating for those who really followed it. And I think that I would try to start telling the death row stories. It's still a lot of stories out there with death row, even Suge Knight's story, that hasn't been properly produced. I think he can go into a film arena quicker than the music arena, because the flip on the film parts is you spend, you basically, whatever you spend, the anticipation is to make a whole lot more. Tyler Perry himself will probably spend $7 million, $5 to $7 million, and he probably gets 50 million.
That's not a good example though, because his wigs be raggedy for his 7 million.
No, but let me
He need to increase his budget like to 15 at least.
No, but let me tell you some of the positive on spending. So sometimes the way we talk about money, it's easy to roll off the tongue, right? But acquiring $7 million, like if I had $7 million sitting under my bed right now, it's unbelievable, because people like, how do you get that kind of money? But people have mastered how to get that kind of money. And the thing, although that Tyler Perry may have that, some people may feel like, it's not great work. What it is done, it has worked. It has worked for the audience that continues to go and support and say, this works just fine for me, and it brings in a lot of money, because so whenever you do make a movie, you don't want to go in the movie spending $100 million and making $100 million.
No, you don't. But you went from 7 to 100. I'm saying if you can spend 7 million, increase it to maybe 8 or 9, and get a budget that puts out. Now, I say that to say a lot of his, his major films like Lionsgate films, those are usually pretty good. But some of his smaller budget films, you can see that they're a smaller budget.
When I think about Death Row too, I think about Ice Cube, and Ice Cube has done magnificent when it comes to business adventure. When I think about Dr. Dre, I think Dr. Dre, and here's the thing too, this is something that we can really spin on, how being talented is not enough. Being skilled gets you further than just being talented. Why is Dr. Dre sitting around with $1 billion? Because he's not just Dr. Dre, he's an engineer. I'm a musical engineer. I can make the music. I don't have to be an artist. See, when you're just an artist, and this is what they don't teach our Black youth, is when you just an artist, you just Jay-Z. It's one Jay-Z. They trying to get one Grammy, one rapper on stage. But when you're an engineer, you got Jay-Z coming, you got Drake coming, you got the next person coming. It's nonstop when you're an engineer. You on hit after hit after hit. And then, like, when you think about Snoop Dogg, he's predominantly been an artist. He's been a rapper. You don't see Snoop Dogg in a lot of the business side of the arena when you think of Death Row too, and the people in that industry with them.
I think Death Row needs to bring Dre back so that they can have a dope engineer. And if they bring, let me think about that. When Dre was there, he was the engineer for The Chronic, and for the first 2 or 3 albums, he was Tupac's, etc. When Dre left, that's when Death Row started falling apart a little bit.
It did, because Dre outed the fact that they were being signed to very bad deals. He left over that reason, and he started Aftermath. Remember, he left Death Row and moved on, and started Aftermath, and that's how he became associated with Universal Music and Jimmy Iovine, who is also his partner with the Beats headphones, his business partner. So, and that's been a great relationship that's been incredibly lucrative for Dr. Dre. But you're right, when Dr. Dre left, that is exactly, it started the collapse. It was like the beginning of the end. I know that Snoop, after Tupac's death, Snoop wanted out. He admitted that. He wanted to do away with the beefs. He wanted to make nice with Bad Boy Records and Diddy. And Suge just was not having it. And it was Master P who stepped in And Master P not only stepped in, but Master P taught him the business end. He taught Snoop the business end. He moved him to New Orleans. He got cars and a home that was actually put in Snoop's name, because Snoop admitted a lot of what was going on, a lot of the cars, and this is the biggest mistake a lot of people tend to make when they see a lot of rap stars. They see the cars, they see the jewelry, they see the $1 million homes. That's not necessarily items that are in the artist's name. A lot of times it is in the name of the record label. This is part of that 360 deal. They front all of that for you, you know, hoping that you're going to be this basically Nike or Adidas or Coca-Cola kind of brand for the label that's going to generate a lot of money, that's going to return the money that they was able to front in order for you to do that. And Snoop put it out there that nothing was in his name, nothing. So it was Master P that helped to get Snoop out of that contract and help. And at that point, Tupac was dead, Dre is gone. That was the end of it. Yeah. At that point, I think Snoop was on his way to jail for the first time. First time he went to jail.
Listening to you talk, those 360 deals are crazy, because if the label owns the car, right? So that's their investment. You drive the car, it's still theirs. They sell it, they get the money. They probably charge you a percentage to drive the car because you don't have one. So not only do we own the car, we're going to charge you to drive the car. The car still belongs to us. We're going to resell it, get the money back for the car. You just be out. You just out in them deals.
You are. And the best way to make sure, because that even happens now. And this is, I believe, in a previous conversation we had on this platform just a week ago when we talked about contracts, understanding the business end of it. You know, the best way to make sure that this doesn't happen to you or anyone you know is to protect your brand and your business with copyright, understanding what publishing is, understanding points, the point system. I mean, it's YouTube, all of that. They collect, a lot of people don't know this. And again, back to the contract and the royalties and the publishing. Did you all know that YouTube collects a percentage of super chats? That money doesn't always go directly to said person that you're donating it to online. YouTube collects their percent and the content creator collects their percent. So although it's not the 360 deal, these platforms are still operating in a fashion where they're going to get theirs. Yeah. You're going to get them some money. Even GoFundMe. GoFundMe collects a percentage. You get a percentage of your donations.
Yeah, anything that you make a payment to, if you guys are paying somebody, they get a percentage. PayPal, unless it's like a PayPal, unless you say it's friends and family, that platform is getting a percentage. Doesn't matter what it is, that platform is going to get a percentage.
So within that being said, for Dre to acquire it back, again, if he felt he needed to do this to get his royalties and all of that, I'm all for it. But I think the music business is different because everything's not the same anymore. And the direction that music is going in, especially since everything is so digitized and we're in the metaverse now, this is going to be interesting to see what happens. But the best way to make sure none of that kind of stuff happens to you is to protect your rights, protect your brand, and protect your business.
Yeah. So Mr. Man says, baby, Dr. Dre ain't engineering anymore. Not so true. He does still engineer, but you gotta be somebody. He ain't engineering for the average Joe, but he still does some stuff for Mary. He still does do some different things. He still works with Eminem. So he has specifics and particulars that he'll come out of retirement for. But you did bring up a good point. I don't know. Is Aftermath still around? Do you think Dre would go back to Death Row Records?
No. All that money he made off Eminem?
Exactly. Eminem is set him up to the point where, and then not to mention, beats by Dre, which I consider to be a little literal, but that's another story. But
he has a label. Again, labels aren't like what they were like back in the day. So I don't even know if Aftermath is like still a technical, you know what I'm saying? But
But let me tell you something though. It's interesting that you say that. Something that is popular, Lene, are producers. Remember, Mike Will made it. That's one. What's the other guy name? He does a lot of Summer Walker stuff. London on the track. Like this, and this younger. This is younger stuff.
Like,
right? You like, huh? These aren't labels, but these are producers. So now the producers are kind of like the wave. So producers are really in the industry making a big old thing. I can't think of. You remember back in the day, Just Blaze, he used to be on there. I don't know Switz Beats' thing, and I don't know I know Neptunes may have a thing. I can't remember, but
is DJ Khaled a producer?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so that's okay. Now I know the language. Okay, thank you. I'm with you.
Young John was a producer too, wasn't he? Wasn't he? Or was he just a DJ? Young John.
Lil John.
Ooh, Lil John.
Somebody said we aging ourselves. Somebody said y'all aging us, making us sound like we in our 70s. When you say Young John, that's what you just did to us, Faye. Young John.
It's so many Lils and Youngs. Oh God.
Right.
Yeah. I just showed my age with that one.
Michelle Dyer says Swiss Beats uses It's Showtime.
Okay. Good to know.
Yes. But yeah, producers are kind of stepping in and becoming the ish these days. I don't know why I pick and choose what cuss words I'm gonna use, the ish. But yeah, producers are, I guess that's how music goes. Sometimes it's the label, and then it goes from the label to the artist. Now it's going from the artist to the producer. Like the producer is the hot stuff, DJ Khaled. And another one.
Yep, yeah. That's how it goes. But it's all going to circle back. It's going to circle back because I know some people are just real big music junkies. So one of my friends who is a big music junkie, and she is such a junkie where it's literally beyond just music. She got to know who wrote it, who produced it, where they did it at, like all of that, right? And so she talks about Top Dog a lot because she says a lot of her favorite artists are a part of Top Dog, which is Kendrick Lamar, SZA, and even if I had other names, you wouldn't know who they were. So it's like all of those people are under Top Dog, which has a niche, or niche, I should say. But I think that's what it is. It's gonna come back around though. It's gonna flip again.
I want music to flip. I just want music overall to flip. I want music to flip. Today's music is nasty. Where is the love music? And here's the thing. I know Death Row is not going to bring back the love music. You know what I'm saying? What if they did Death Row Soul? And what if that Death Row came out with all soul music? I want music to be like where is today's Luther Vandross? Where is today's Whitney Houston? Where is today's Gap Band or just Keith Sweat or just Jodeci? Like, where is today's music? Like soul music, like something makes you feel good, make love. Like everything is so raunchy and hard and aggressive and straightforward. There's no romance. I literally have a playlist of stuff that predates 2010. I don't even know today's music. This is so bad.
It's not just you. I'm on that same boat, Lene.
I'm gonna send you some stuff because I like Giveon or Giveon. I can't really. I don't know if it's Giveon, but he's really good. He got a very distinctive voice, and he sings those love songs. It's real good. I like him. I mean, you literally can just go to Apple Music and put your neo soul in and have those artists come up. But I will say that mainstream music, and this is where I fall. Mainstream music is not for everybody. But then guess what? If you're not a big music junkie, you don't go and search for new artists, right? So it's not a part, like, so we kind of just subjected to what's there, but
what's playing on the radio.
Exactly. And what's on the radio is a bunch of stuff that you already know we ain't getting paid off of. Like, just if you go to two different radio stations, the Black radio station is heavy on drugs and sex, And if you go to the white radio station, it's heavy on love and I found a boy I like and all of that stuff. But
I've always, I hate to I've always found that odd. That point you just made, Madam President, why is that the case? Why is it when you go to the black radio station, you hear drugs, sex, and murder and just destruction and basically just depressing music, and then you go to a B103 or in Philly it is, or Easy 101, something with an easy listening, or even a country music station, and they're talking about love. At worst case scenario, they'll just talk about how their cat died at best, or the dog died, but it's mostly filled with love. The only uplifting music, well, it used to be uplifting with black music, but nowadays really is gospel. Back in the day, it used to be more than gospel. You can find a good, fun song and jam out, have a jam session. That's not the case anymore. Everything is drill and trap music.
It is. And then the sound is so consistent. You don't even know when the song ends because the next one sounds like the last one. And then the one after that sounds like the last one. So the thing is, when you come with like difference, the label is like, nah, we don't want that. You got the same thing. We want the same thing over and over again. And then the thing that really bothers me the most is that like they take advantage, and they also did this to Snoop Dogg. And they did it to Tupac, and Tupac was just so special that he did have community and education. That's what kept him just being able to grind it out the way that he did. That's what kept him being able to articulate himself. When you think about Tupac, he had a fire. You don't meet these same artists that has a fire on the inside of them that's able to say, man, look around. I went over to I'm in DC. I go over to the White House, and this is 100 rooms in the White House, and it's 100 homeless people sleeping around it. That seems like a problem in America. That's what Young Fire had you about. But it's like now it's not like that. But at the same time, these young boys, they're not educating themselves in any capacity. And it's like, I feel like the music industry exploit the trauma that white supremacy puts on black folks in the first place. So here you go, have our young boys in these environments, because the disbursement of educational funds ain't proper. So the young black men in just from an educational standpoint, they ain't in the same educational environment as young white boys like Justin Bieber when he was of a certain age. So then we go out, and what you want to do? You want to do music. You want to write about this pain. Kanye West, college dropout. I'm going to write about this pain, right? Now, this the same pain that I'm going to go out and fall in love with. This the same pain that I'm going to go out and make a whole lot of money for. It's like, I don't mean to be deep, but it's a lot that's tied to our music. It's tied to the way that we live. It's not just people out here making bad songs. People out here living like this. And that's where the issue comes.
So I agree with you. I'm going to say I agree with you, and then I'm going to put a period, and then I'm going to start a new sentence. Okay. So I agree with you, and I don't want to say however, and that's why I wanted to put a period. So I don't know how to make this transition. Yet that's not all the situations. Cardi B's music, Megan's music, somebody is sitting in a lab putting that crap together. They haven't had all of those experiences. So some of that, to your point, I think that's how we got here, right? With NWA, they were literally rapping about their experiences. Mm-hmm. Public Enemy, they were literally rapping about their experiences. That's how we got here, right?
Those weren't their experiences. And that's another thing we need to highlight.
Well, in LA,
Ice Cube was a college student.
NWA, those things were happening on the streets of LA. What they were talking about what that stuff was actually happening on the streets in LA. So they were rapping about the things they were seeing. Was all of it real? Dope Boy did it? Maybe not. But those are things. The thing is, people were able to relate to it because that was the life that they were living, and that's what they were seeing. They were seeing Tupac's song. I think it was "Dear Mama." or it might be that's not the one. I'm thinking of another one with the girl was doing drugs. I can't think of the song. Brenda had a baby. Yeah, like that's what people were experiencing. That stuff was really happening. Today's music, when you're listening to it, if we use that same frame, and they're glorifying Percocets and they're glorifying Molly's because of those glorifications, you basically have life imitating art. So now you have we have our kids out here doing Molly's because they think it's cool because the rappers are doing it. They're doing lean because the rappers are doing it because they think it's cool. So before you had art talking about life, now you have life mimicking art, and that's crazy and weird because to your point, when you listen to the music, when you listen to love songs, you believe in love. Maybe not, or maybe you want a love like that, right? You want to be like, oh, that's how I want to be loved, or that's how I want him to come in and lay me down, or whatever the case might be. But if you're listening to Molly Percocet, then you like, oh well, hell, Molly Percocet must be the thing. So there's a level of brainwashing that comes through the music, the same way it comes to the TV. When we watched A Different World, everybody wanted to go to HBCU. Now everybody want to have an empire.
Why can't we tune out of it? I noticed that Michelle said something, a comment a few moments ago. She said they want us to view white people as wholesome. They do. But when you say they, who are you talking about? Because, and this is where my conservative side comes in. We can talk about them, the other persuasion, but I want to get to the point where we're going to have a conversation about why are we so complicit in exploiting ourselves? Why are we so complicit? They want us to view white people as wholesome. Why aren't we viewing black? Why are we complicit in allowing them to exploit us as being, hopeless, drug addicts, prostitutes, hookers, and whores, and all of that? Why are we okay with that? Because I'm going to tell you something that I've known just as a former world traveler. Most of the people all over the world, not just in the US, not just in the outer islands, but all over the world, they tend to get their ideas about Black people. They shape their opinions about Black people, especially westernized Black people, from entertainment and music. They get it from TV and music. Mm-hmm. We know that that's not how we are. We know who we really are and who we are at our core and at our roots as a people. But over in India, China, parts of Africa, I mean, you have even them who tend to look down at westernized Black folks because of what they see on TV and what they get, the messages that are coming out of the music. So we need to get to a point where, yes, we can talk about they and them all day long, but we need to reach the point where we are not so complicit anymore. For an example, I like Rihanna, right? I love her music. I don't want to be a pop singer. I don't want to be Rihanna. I don't want tattoos all over my body. I don't even have a tattoo. I don't want that. I don't want to live like Cardi B. I don't want to be Cardi B. I don't listen to Cardi B's music. I don't listen to me. I don't even go near it. I refuse to. Somebody could offer me $1 billion today. I wouldn't go near it. But there are people that would. There's that complicit part. We need to get to a point where we're not being complicit anymore, because there's something that came out in the news recently, and I'm noticing we're quiet about it. And I have just one word. And Lene and I was talking about it before this broadcast started: crack pipes. Yeah. Crack pipes. Now, we know ain't nobody smoking no crack. We not. Not one thing. Not to the degree that was done in the 80s. But this is what they're doing. This is what they want to distribute and push to us. Why are we so quiet? It's almost as if we're like, okay, well.
You know what? I think that you make a great point. I think that you make a great point, Faye. And I'm gonna say something else too. The psychological Black folks don't want to deal with the real psychological issue of just truly just rebelling against the programming. You know, it's kind of like we want to potentially just kind of blame and just say it's the programming, but we don't want to turn it off. Not to mention money, the money, the my thing is, I do not like the concept of doing anything for money. That's how our ancestors got here. I don't subscribe to that, doing anything for money. This is how your grandmother was a part of Jim Crow, is the concept of doing anything for money. So we got to stop looking at people who become famous and rich as something to subscribe to. They said in I think the video of Dr. Boyce passed this video around recently, TikTok. In China, TikTok, you don't get rewarded in TikTok in the algorithm for dancing. You get rewarded through their algorithm for being for teaching, engineer topics, for teaching, things that's going to be constructive to their environment. But in ours, they give us reward for everything that is destructive. So I just really believe it requires a lot of work, like even for us to speak on, just also to just being fully transparent with the people here, even for us to come and do business conversation. Like, this is effort. Like, it was almost so easy to subscribe to the gossip and what's going on in the world, but for us to come and gather and say, like, no, what this is going to be business conversation, that required intentionality. Because it's not easy trying to rebel against what's considered to be a norm.
You microphone drop there. You actually made a really good point, because it's always easier to do the norm, right? Speaking about melanated air, there is a lot of gossip talk shows or gossip podcasts or entertainment podcasts, and those are very easy to do. You get very high ratings. But to come and have an intellectual conversation about melanin things that are happening in the world from a business perspective, we do try to keep things edgy. Today we're talking about business, but we're talking about business from the perspective of death row, and we talk about things that are lifestyle, that are business, but there are conversations that most people aren't having from this perspective. And that does take a level of stepping out of the box. And it's difficult. And everybody doesn't want to do it because it goes against the grain. You have to work harder to go against the grain.
You do.
You don't get as much praise when you go against the grain. Your bag is not as big when you go against the grain, because what we're calling the grain is really the machine. It's really the propaganda. Mm-hmm. It's really what they want you to take and accept. And when you go against what I'm sorry, Faye, when you go against what the machine, the world, social media, the government, the whatever you want to call it, when you go against that, people don't understand. Like, why would you do that? Why would you fight? Why would you want to be different? Why do you want to do something different? Because we can't all, the blind is leading the blind. Most times in a day-to-day, the blind is leading the blind. We just blindly following. And if we don't have individuals that stand up and say, "Hey, hold on, maybe this not the right way. Maybe did anybody check upstairs? Did anybody check the back row? Somebody has to say that, or we just gonna all keep following the machine. They don't tell Faye I said they. We're gonna keep following them, and that has never gotten us anywhere good. That has never produced a good result. So we have to have individuals that say, hold on a second, this is not right. I hope and pray. My hope and prayer is that death row will do that. I hope and pray that Snoop has been in his career long enough. He has seen enough things and he has experienced enough things that he will say, this is not going to be the death row of yesterday. Let me build something better. Let me build something different. Let me build something new. That's my hope and prayer. Now, whether or not he does that, I don't know. But it is time for somebody to say, not on my watch. It's time for somebody to say, I'm not going to do this shit like they did it yesterday. I'm not going to go with what's cool and what's normal. I'm not going to follow the machine. Somebody has to say, we need to take our music back. We need to take our voice back. We need to take our youth back. I hope he says that. He has always been in some type of volunteer. He takes the youth seriously. He goes hard in the paint for his boys and his football team. I hope that he looks at taking Death Row back as a legacy move, and that he subscribes to his legacy being better than Suge Knight's legacy, and that he changes music. Between him, maybe Diddy, Jay-Z, maybe, like, they have an opportunity to take music back. They have been in their business and their careers long enough to say, hey, let's do something different. Music doesn't have to be ran and owned by these major corporations when we have YouTube, which is some of the reason why I think our music is all jacked up, is because we don't have MTV Music or 106 in Park, where stuff had to be there was the music police, right? It couldn't get on TV if it was overly sexualized. It couldn't get on TV if it had cuss words. It couldn't get on TV if it showed, you know what I'm saying? WAP couldn't be on TV on 106 in Park.
That's true,
right? But because now we can just throw this stuff out any old kind of way. There's no police. They're just throwing anything in front of our youth and in front of our kids. But if we had better producers and better management and better record companies who thought about us, and when I say us, our people, our community, our children first, music could be better. Imagery could be better. Sounds could be better. Propaganda could be better.
I agree. And I think one of the biggest issues is that they do not allow the like, I feel like there's so many other good artists that don't get the mainstream help. So like, if you a good neo soul artist, think about it. Like, we got like Erykah Badu, Lauryn Hill, and now we got more artists now, but there are so many quality artists that can't get a good record deal. And it's because they're not talking about the vagina, or they're not willing to expose their breasts. But that shouldn't even be the standard or option to get a good record deal. And this is one of the reasons that it's just so problematic. We should really explore we should really explore how the music industry has been such a thief of Black excellence and money since its existence. When you think about every single Black artist started in music, that even Billie Holiday had a struggle with drugs while she was singing Strange Fruit, seeing her brothers and sisters be hung from a tree. And then if you fast forward to today, this is the music that we have. And then if you go into Motown, all of these men, what do? Alcoholism, drugs, attacks, money issues, exploitation from the company, being everything. Sam Cooke killed. His lawyer took all his money. Like, when I tell you, the record industry let my people go, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to come to these folks like Moses, because they straight up got our brothers and sisters straight captive from this industry since the beginning of time, though. And it's kind of crazy. Lene, if you think about the 60s, the only people that really survived this industry are those who had some community support. Think about Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin said she used to roll up, pay me in cash. I ain't waiting. That's number one. Number two, I'm the queen of soul. And then, like, she had to get to a place where she said, I'm deciding. And what did Aretha have? The skill set. I play my own music. I've been in it since a long time. So I just believe there's just so much in depth in in this particular subject that we can continue to explore.
Yeah,
I agree. And I'm with Lene. I hope that, and this has been such a very good conversation, Snoop Dogg with his take on reclaiming Death Row Records, which is a brand that he helped to build. He was one of the most popular artists on that label. I hope that he is able to do that with rebranding the company, because I do know that he's definitely not going to take it back to what it was. But I do hope that the direction he does take it into is something that will be much more lucrative, not only lucrative financially and economically for those that sign under the label or work with him on the label, but it will be something socially that Black people can connect to once and for all, because we have lost that connection and we don't have it anymore due to the exploitation.
Absolutely. Ooh, great conversation today, ladies. Great conversation.
Yes.
There's so much. I mean, first of all, I love melanated air. I love that we can look at things that are happening in the world, real life, real time, and talk about them from a business perspective. But with our own spin, right? Like these things are happening in the world. I have no idea who else or what else is being talked about. But Snoop buying Death Row is a major.
It is.
Situation. Like it's major, right? And it deserves a conversation. And I think we did a good job of dissecting it and looking at it and bringing our own perspectives and banging West Side. You know, I'm from California. But just having really good dialogue and breaking it down. We don't always agree. Sometimes we have different views and opinions and stuff, which I like because sometimes you guys force me to think about things in a different way. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I have to hear it. And so I love that about this conversation. Before we go, like I always do, I like to go around and do a recap and just let everybody do their final thoughts. But before I do that, please make sure that you go like and support Melanated Air. If you found this conversation to be beneficial or exciting or entertaining or knowledgeable, you can definitely go and find and love and support each one of us individually. You can find me on social media at I am Lene Javette. That's my handle. You can find Madam President at the #1, Madam President with a Z. You can find Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. And you can also find Melanated Air at Melanated Air. We are on social media. You definitely go follow us on YouTube if you get a chance. And we're here every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern-ish. We're doing better with our CPT time. So we're always online at 2, but sometimes we're meeting with each other, getting caught up. We only see each other two times a week. But yeah, make sure you go like us, follow us, and support us. Final thoughts, Madam President.
Hey, look, in the words of Tupac, you know, I remember Marvin Gaye used to sing to me, had me feeling like Black was the thing to be. I just say good luck to Snoop and, you know, Death Row Records, whatever they produce. I hope that they have what is inside of them to make a change in the industry and to the youth that will come after him.
Yes.
Amen to that. I just want to say I am actually very proud of Snoop for being able to reclaim his brand. Salute to that brother. And I just want to say to all of the content creators and small business owners, always keep in mind that your obligation to your business extends well beyond the 8 to 12 hour workday. Your responsibilities as a brand isn't just to get up on social media and declare it. You have to get it in writing. You have to protect your rights. You have to protect your content. You have to protect your publishing, because Snoop got the opportunity to come back and buy back what was rightfully his. The average person does not get that opportunity. So to avoid that, definitely protect your neck. As they would say, I'm an East Coast girl, protect your neck, the Wu-Tang. Make sure your business is straight so you don't lose out. Mm-hmm. And that's my final thought.
Boom. Basically, she said, get your shit right from the beginning.
Because everybody don't have that opportunity to come back and buy back their brand. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic that he was able to do that.
Yeah, Diddy did it just not too long ago with Sean John. I guess he sold it for $70 million. I think you bought it back for like $5 or something stupid. My numbers are way off, but it's something like that, where you get to come back and buy your brand. Hopefully, you know, he'll rebuild it, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, what Faye said, man, as Black people, business owners, entrepreneurs, self-employed, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter who you are or what you do, read your contracts, make sure you're protecting yourself, make sure you're reading the fine print. Make sure that you don't have to come back. Get everything set up correctly the first time. Again, whether that's you are an employee going into a job, and this is a whole different conversation, but I have a client who literally started her business because of something that happened at her job. She created this process at her job. And when she left, she was like, okay, I want to go teach this process. And they were like, you can't teach this process because you created this process at this job. So your process belongs to us. And she was like, no, it doesn't. And they were like, yeah, you signed this document that says anything that you create here belongs to us. She was like, no, I didn't sign that document. And they were like, it was in your new hire packet. And she was like, yeah, but I didn't sign it. They went and pulled her new hire packet. Lo and behold, she did not sign that paperwork. And so when she left her job, they had to rehire her as a contract to keep teaching the program that she created there. And they were her first customer.
Woo! That's a power story right there, Lene. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So even for employment, read your contracts, see what you're signing, depending on the type of position that you have, because a lot of these employers say if you create something while you're working for them, that it belongs to them. So you can actually give away your intellectual property in a new hire contract, just signing away your stuff. And then you want to leave and take what you've learned there to go apply it someplace else in your own business, and you can't because it doesn't belong to you. So always read your contract. Doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or you're not an entrepreneur. If you are signing your name, read it. Okay. So congrats to Snoop Dogg. Congrats to the West Side. California love all day, baby. I'm from Cali. I kill a Cali. Y'all can probably tell. This has been a great episode of the Melanated Air Hour. Again, we are here every Tuesday and Thursday, 2:00 p.m. Eastern if you want to catch us live, but you can always go back and watch our replays on Melanated Air and follow us on social media. Today is Thursday, so this is our last show for this week, but you can catch us back here on Tuesday of next week. Again, there's anywhere from 3 to 5 of us. Today you have myself. I am Lene Javette. You have Madam President at One Madam President. You have Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop. We are missing Teddy Ewing and Keisha Ravenel this week, but you will always get between 2 to 5 of us on any given Tuesday or Thursday.
And it will always be one of our faces.
Yes. Yes. You will always see melanin on Melanated Air. All right, you guys, as always, have a great rest of your day. Continue to be Black, stay blessed, and be one.
Be one.
Bye.